Hey YouTube, this is Short Simple Solutions, and today we're going to be talking about propane tanks. Now, if you're like me and you live out in the country, you probably have a propane tank to supply your gas for your furnace in the wintertime. Now these are great, but from time to time they build up rust, dirt, and moss, and they become a real eyesore and potentially dangerous if the rust is bad enough. So follow me, we're going to see what it takes to make our propane tank looking good. Here are some of the supplies we will need for working on a propane tank. We got a drill with a 240 grit brush for any rust spots so they don't bleed through the paint. We got our paint here, it's a hot oil-based high gloss white. We got our paint pan with a 3/8 nap roller cover. We got our roller, and we got our brush for any tight spots. So here, I'm using my gas pressure washer to remove the moss and rust that has built up on my propane tank over the past few years. This step is very important to make sure the paint has a good surface to adhere to. Otherwise, you could have issues with the paint chipping in the future. It is also important to make sure you make your way all the way down to the bottom side of the propane tank, as it is easy to miss. Here I'm fixing a few spots where the rust popped through the paint. I'm just using a 240 grit brush to gently eliminate the rust. This spot here is a little bit rougher, so we're going to switch over to a wire reel instead of a sanding disc. Gives a little bit deeper cut into that rust spot. Now we are ready to paint the tank. I'm using a roller to apply the paint in a uniform way. If you are using oil-based paints like I am, be careful not to get it on yourself or your clothes, as it is more difficult to remove than latex paints. Be sure to roll all the way down to the bottom of the tank. If there's any loose dirt or debris in the tank, gently brush it away before painting. You don't want to get the dirt in the paint, as it will cause the paint not to stick properly in those areas. To clean up the oil-based paint, you will need to use lacquer thinner or mineral spirit to dissolve the paint, as water will not work. So now I'm going to use my brush to get in spots I couldn't reach with the roller. I completely removed the top cover for easy access to this area. Mine has a cotter pin that I was able to remove to free the top cover from the tank. With the top cover off, this is a good time to inspect the date code of the regulator feeding the house. If the regulator is older than 15 years, your co-op will require it to be replaced. I'd recommend letting the co-op replace it, but if you feel comfortable, you can find these valves on Amazon or eBay and replace them yourself. So now we're going to take the top of the propane tank and sand it up a little bit so we can spray paint it and get it looking good as well. Make sure to shake the spray paint well before spraying. I'm just using some leftover red spray paint I had from another project. For the first coat, I will just apply a thin layer of paint. If you spray too much on your first layer, it will take a long time to dry. Your next layer will not stick and will cause bubbles to form. After the first coat of spray paint, I noticed this one spot where the paint wasn't sticking to the metal. So instead of continuing to put layer of paint on it and it not stick, we're going to switch over to this paint primer and put it on just this one spot so we can build an adhesive layer for the paint to stick to. So we'll just take our paint, just give it a quick spray, just over that one area, and we'll get a nice spot where our paint can stick to it. After letting the first coat and any prime spots dry for about 30 minutes, it's time for the second coat. It's important to apply additional coats within 1 hour of the previous coat. For the second and third coats of paint, you can apply a thicker layer. I applied one more coat of paint, not filmed, before reinstalling the cover on the propane tank. Here's what it looked like before, and here's the finished product. Thanks for watching Short Simple Solutions.